Hello, you guys, and I want to say welcome to the Woman's Cave, WOMENS apostrophe cave, but I can't because this is Ladies' Tales. And no, I don't mean like booty bouncing Ladies' Tales type of podcast, although that probably would sell better. Thinking it over, no, never mind. I'm going to keep it classy. It's a little late for that when you start off with booty everywhere. Yeah. We're classy, but we're gonna go with it. We're going with it. Anyway, I'm Winona. Go figure. I remember to introduce myself. High five to me. You know the best part about a high five to yourself? No social distance. You can just be like, woo! Because you're not gonna catch corona from yourself unless you have it. Then does that make that twice? Never mind. We're not even discussing that. Anyway, moving on. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on here. So we wrote books. Go figure. Literary life guides for pop poetry. We have the And I Thought Divorce Was Bad and I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy going down so you guys can see them. See books. Okay. They're both on audible.com. There's 13 books in that series. Go check them out on Amazon or barnesandnobles.com. We have the Misfit Guides. Whoop, popping off screen. Boom, there it is. And that's 2 books in that series. You can also check those out at the same 2 places, Amazon.com and barnesandnobles.com. We have our one poetry book, If Only I Were Me. It's not one. It's there's like 3 all poetry books, but the only one that we're thinking about trying to sell today, is If Only I Were Me, which is on barnesandnobles.com. And we are the founders of the 25 hottest authors, artists, and advocates magazine. Now that I've finished pitching my audience and my lovely guests, you're not here to hear about, oh, wait, I made a mistake. See, no jade, so I make mistakes. You can find everything out that your ladies are doing at www.andwethought.com. Okay, now sales pitch is over. If you fast forward it, I said something important, go back. You missed it. You're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about our wonderful guests. Wonderful guests? Well, I should probably do this. Our wonderful guests was part of the table read for managers, which was a script that we turned into a book and then eventually became a table read. I'm so excited. And I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell us what characters he played and then tell us all about himself.
So hi, my name is Sean Clark. I portrayed Tina, Karen, and the caller during the table read. Couple female characters. Of course, I'm a male, but I think it went fine.
And
just a little bit. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Just a little bit about myself. I did a lot of theater in high school. It was a big part of my life. When I graduated high school, I went to college. Was talked into going for something a little more practical than theater for college. So I went with chemical engineering. Needless to say, I did not have a lot of time to maintain my involvement in theater throughout college. Graduated college with my degree in chemical engineering 4 years later. Started a job at a company immediately after that. I, being an introvert and having a little bit of social anxiety and without being in high school behind me, found it really hard to get back involved into the theater, especially considering I had been out of it for a while. Several years later, finally decided to just buck up and go for it for community theater. Finally started to get back involved, at which point I participated in a couple of shows. I then met Miss Tanya Todd, and then that's when we had done a show together, rehearsed a little bit, and then she had heard about your table read that you were planning to do and reached out to some of us in the cast that she was in to see if any of us were willing to participate. And I'd never done anything like that before, so I was like, sure, let's go for it. And so that's how I got involved with the table read.
That is nice. Thank you so much. I love when someone gives me the long story. I like the 1 to 3 things because it keeps it short, but the long story.
Sorry.
I got questions to ask. Oh, why are you sorry? I can now ask questions like, how freaking hard was it to go as a chemical engineer to graduate?
It was tough, it wasn't easy. I'll say we started my freshman year in college. We had like 50 people in our freshman class for chemical engineering. By the end, there were 7 of us. So it dwindles down a lot from freshman year to senior year. So yeah, it's not easy. Something though, I've always loved math and science, and especially chemistry. And I was always told that if you find something that you enjoy that no one else seems to enjoy, that's the field to get into. So yeah, it made sense. Of course, there's some days where I look back and think how different my life would be if I had pursued theater instead, because that is theater would be my first passion, and then chemical engineering would be number 2. But I'm happy where I am today, so I don't think I would change anything.
I was just about to say, you would be sad and wondering if you had become a success of life, like all the other creatives in the world.
Right.
Chemical engineering, you're like, yeah, I'm successful. I don't have to guess. I know. Anyway, so how do you do the switch, like in your mind, from like the logic to the more creative side in order to get theater right? Because you did the Lady Callers very well.
Oh, thank you. It all comes down to, I feel like I'm a pretty adaptive person, and I pick up on, other people's energy, just when I'm interacting with other people. And so when I'm around the more creative types and stuff like that, I find it really easy to fall back into that sort of mode. Whereas when I'm at work and I'm with all these other more logical thinkers and stuff like that, it's very easy for me to just switch back and forth, and it's all just comes down to who am I with, right? I think that's part of my issue sometimes. When I see someone outside of the element I'm used to seeing them in, it's very weird for me. So like when I see someone that I normally interact with on the creative side in a more, if I'm hanging out with people from work and then I happen to run into somebody that I knew from community theater, it's very weird for me. My brain doesn't know how to interpret that. And vice versa, I'm hanging out with people from community theater and run into someone from work. I get so flustered. I'm just like, I don't even know how to process this right now. But yeah.
I love what you said about it. It's about the energy. There was an actor that we had interviewed. He's been doing it for like 30 years in Hollywood, always worked. And I'm always asking, how do you keep all the people in your head? As you have to act out so many different characters. How do you keep them all in your head? And he was like, no, it's a matter of like telling your brain, oh, we need this, 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 and this, and then just putting it together and putting it out into the world in facial expressions and in movements. So that's nice to know. Like, even from a logical standpoint, it works very well in the creative world. So now, if you could take any role that you would want to do, what role would you have been like, this is it, this is my premium role, this is the role that I don't even need to act anymore because I've done the top?
Oh gosh, I don't know, just in anything. Ooh, I don't know. Oof. I have a lot of Shakespeare on my mind right now because I'm participating. I'm in one of the casts of the Bard at the Bar performances. Nice. So one of the shows that they do for Bard at the Bar here in Las Vegas is they do Taming of the Shrew, but they do like a gender bent version of Taming of the Shrew where they have all the female characters being played by males and vice versa. And one of my favorite characters in probably all of Shakespeare is Catherine from Taming of the Shrew. So if I could like pick any role, it would be to be the male version of Catherine from Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, nice. I love that you went classic too. dear. And the only reason I know of Taming of the Shrew is like 10 Things I Hate About You, so don't be mad at me.
Yeah. Well, that's the character. Yeah, if they did a gender bent version of 10 Things I Hate About You, same answer.
Oh my goodness, that's a good role too.
She's so sassy and she's just like, she doesn't take crap from anybody. I just love that.
That's amazing. I think I'd love to see that. Okay, so apparently the next time I'm in Vegas, which is probably going to be in like 2022, because COVID is real.
Yes.
Right now, I have to come out and see this. Hopefully,
Yeah.
there'll be something Bard at the Bar-ish going on.
Yeah.
It'll give me something other to do than just like the Vegas Strip. Anyway, so I wanted to also ask, do you ever think like, because you have the makings of the logic brain and the creative brain to become a writer, you ever think you'll join us in our world and just start being a writer?
I have tried in the past, and I always end up getting to the point where I am not happy with my work, and I sort of I pretty much never end up finishing anything. I've tried to write a couple of like short stories. I've tried to write like a longer, I wouldn't necessarily say novel, but I sort of have like this whole story outlined in my head, and it's just really hard for me to get down on paper. I tried to write a play one time. I participated in the National Novel Writing Month, if you've ever heard of that. And yeah, I've never been able to finish anything and be happy with it. But I still try every once in a while when I just get the creative juices flowing and I get a good idea and I'm just like, I got to try to put that on paper. But yeah, I struggle with it sometimes.
Oh, I'll tell you a secret. I don't think there are many authors out there that are happy with their final anything.
Yeah.
You'll read, like, they'll be published in their book.
Okay, that's
I
good.
wish that line was better. And you're like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
I'm one of those authors that like everything I write. But okay. So my next question is a little bit about me because I'm a narcissist. Sorry about this. But with your characters that you played in the table read, what did you like and dislike about them? And then I'll have a follow-up question that's general.
Let's see. So, I played Tina, Karen, and the caller. They weren't necessarily particularly big parts. I don't know how much of a background they had. So Tina was the hair and makeup, I think. And she wasn't a big part, but I feel like she had like a little bit of sass behind her, which I liked. Because they were like, hey, we need you to do so-and-so's hair. And like one of her lines was just like, I'm still doing so-and-so's hair. And we have 6 minutes until we go on air. She's just like, I don't have time for that. I like that. I thought that was fun. Karen was the person at the radio who was just directing them like, you need to be in this chair, you need to be in that chair. And she was just very a matter of fact, just like, you need to be there. You need to be there. You need to be there at this time. You're going on in 5. So she was, that was kind of fun too. And I feel like they're quite different characters. And then the caller was just someone calling in, asking about the gossip. She just wanted to know. I think of that character as female too, just because I don't know why. She was just calling in, wanted to know about the gossip that she was seeing. And even though it was clear they didn't want to talk about it, she was just like, no, I'm going to ask. And I thought that was fun too. So I liked all 3 characters.
Oh, awesome. I love that. Like when you read it, I went, oh, so she's female. This is a female caller. Nice to know. And immediately in my mind, it went, is it because females tend, they always say females gossip more? Is that why? And then I let it go. Cause I mean, who cares? It was getting read. I don't really care how it happened. And my more general question is, what do you look for in a script before you decide to pick a character or try out for a character? Audition. I
like to look for the comedy. I always, whether it's, I pretty much always end up being some sort of comic relief, even if it's a dramatic show. So like, for example, we're doing Hamlet right now, and then I'm Guildenstern, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, the duo in there, and they're pretty much the comic relief. So, even if it's like a dramatic show or something like that, I tend to look for the comedy in things. And
That's interesting. I'm trying to think about, is there comedy in chemical engineering? I only took a bit of chemistry because I was all like, I'm gonna be pre-med, and then I was like, chemistry was evil. I don't remember
comedy. It can be.
For you, it was fun. But what can we see you in when this whole thing is over? What do you think that you'll want to play when it's over, besides like possibly the comedy bits? Or what kind of plays will you be looking for?
Really, I'm just sort of, well, I also really love musical theater. So like, being in a musical and stuff like that. There's a lot of community theater here in Las Vegas. Obviously with coronavirus, not a lot's happening right now. But some of the bigger productions they do, is called Super Summer Theater, and they do a lot of really big productions. There's like a really big outdoor venue just sort of outside of town or on the edges of town. And then they do a lot of big shows out there. And that was one show that I did last year was, again, another Shakespeare, was Midsummer Night's Dream, but that one was really interesting because they took like the classical work of Midsummer Night's Dream, but then like interwove contemporary songs into it. So it was like a contemporary musical version of Midsummer Night's Dream. And I thought that one was really cool. When I saw that on the list of shows that they were doing, I was like, I need to audition for that. I need to be in that. And I was, and it was one of the best experiences of my life.
Oh, this sounds lovely. So next year in 2021, during the summer, you could probably find him in a production. Is that right?
Sure. As long as I get cast in something.
Cast. You ever think you'll take the leap and just do acting full time?
I don't think so. I love my job. I like having like almost two lives. I like it. Again, being an introvert and stuff like that, I think if I had to be extroverted all the time, I would just be exhausted. So I think having like the more logical, reserved, like, quiet side, half of my life is important as well. I like having the balance.
Oh, nice. Of course you would. Chemical equations tend to be balanced unless you want them to explode.
Yes.
Or break down. Either or. Am I right? Because I was good at chemistry, so. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I want to thank you so much for being here. I was going to ask another self-serving question, but I feel like that's too much self-serving. Oh, I love it.
No, go ahead if you want.
Self-serving question. What do you think you would want to see happen in episode 2 of Managers?
Ooh, gosh, I don't know.
I've seen her having more lines, obviously.
Yeah, I'm still curious about what exactly all the details behind why everyone's so angry at him are, and if they're justified. I'd like to see him get his comeuppance for whatever it was that he did, in whatever creative ways those ladies could come up with.
Oh, ladies and vengeance. I'm sure they could figure that out. So Sean, I want to thank you so much for being here. Anything that you want to say as last words out there, or advice for anyone that's thinking about, taking on the dual identity of, chemistry and acting?
I would just say that if you were in the same situation as I was, where you were talked into pursuing something, more quote unquote practical. Don't lose sight of what your other passions are. Don't wait. Get out there and do it. Make time for it. It'll help keep you sane.
Oh, I agree with that 150%. Yeah. Although it really should only be 100%. Let me make it more logical. I agree with that 100%. My bad.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Sean, for taking time out of your Sunday to talk to us about our little podcast and your life. If you guys want to know more about managers and you want to find out what actually does happen in episode 2, we can ever get everyone back together again to read it, hey, check out the podcast that you're listening to. And if you haven't listened to the first episode of this podcast, go back and listen to the first episode, which would be the table reading of managers. I hope that everyone enjoyed themselves today. And if you want to find out anything that the ladies are up to, besides apparently this table reading and podcast, you can go to www.andwethought.com. So remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Bye-bye.